Oh, hey, look, there's that guy on the screen. Yeah, he's in your ear right now. And you're wondering, should you get up? Yes, it's time to get up because the Friday loop has begun. There we go. Yes, sirree. Oh, we've had an awesome week of shows and we're ending it. Ending? What the hell? Anderson's like, Bilous, we're not ending. We're just getting started. We are just getting started. It's Friday. Mornings in the Lab with Keith Bilous. Over there is Jon Andersen. And over there is CMarty Fit. And just over there, Christina Flynn, producer Flynn's back from dropping off the kids at school. And we have a guest today. We have a superstar guest today. Michael Della Oya is joining us. We're talking side hustle. We're talking, he's the CEO of a big podcast network. We don't talk podcasts here on the show because we do live shows. We're live conversations here mornings in the lab, 8 o'clock Eastern time. But we're talking side hustle. If you're getting your day started right now and you go into a job and you're thinking, hey, I want to make a little bit extra cash, or you have a little hobby or you have some fun you want to do, today is the show you want to tune into because we're going to teach you how. We're going to teach you how to embrace the idea of the side hustle. And then along the way, we might drop some explicit conversation. So if you have children in the lab this morning listening, I invite you to put the headphones on. I invite you to walk them out of the room because an F-bomb here, an F-bomb there, or some conversations about erectile dysfunction might come up this morning. And I know Marty's just kind of rolling his eyes going, really? Are we actually going to talk about that again today? Oh, maybe. Oh, maybe. And hey, listen. Yeah, he's shaking his head in the green room right now. Hey, I got the white hat today. Yeah, I got the white hat, the black shirt, camouflage shorts you can't see over there. We have Marty Fit with the old glasses on today. The less brunches, more crunches, black t-shirt, the red headset powered by Beats. We got Jon Andersen joining us here with the red hat today, the black Versace glasses, and the fuck mental weakness t-shirt.
What's going down?
How are you, boys? It's Friday. I had a great week of shows. I'm sweating like a mofo right now because I went for a run.
It's not Friday. It's just another day that we kick ass.
I was waiting for your correction this morning.
Man. I was waiting for all these titles. The title is "It's Another Amazing Day." That's what it is. Another
amazing day, Mr. Andersen, Mr. Fay. Hey, let's bring in producer Flynn this morning as well. What's going on, Flinner? Good to have you here this morning.
Great to be here as always. Better than being on the wire.
Yeah, I was wondering. So we pulled the wire yesterday, and you happened to be on the end of it. Oh, but I'm not going to get any.
We got to work on that. Yeah, we got to.
I didn't get last.
Yes, I need.
We got to work on that one. That was terrible.
You know, I so understand what she was saying. You know, in today's world, phone calls in many cases come with problems.
Yes,
if the phone rings and she's like, "Oh no."
Uh-oh.
Wrong.
Yeah.
But in actuality, it was just a fun-loving call. We just, times have changed.
John.
That's it.
I looked at my wife and I said, why the fuck is he calling me?
I know that's exactly what you said too.
I'm like, someone's dead. Someone is dead. You can't call a millennial. I'm telling you. We immediately assume someone's dead.
Oh my God. Hey, boys and girls, we have the GOAT joining us right now in the lab. It is time for we need a flusher instead of Marty. We need like a sound of somebody going to the can because we have sours in the lab. We get the CEO greatest clean restroom company in the United States. Hey, Michael Della Oya hanging out in the green room. If you need the cleanest restroom company, if you're going to an event somewhere across the state and you're like, hey, I need a clean shitter. I want to go sit in a nice air conditioned or heated place. You got to go knock on David Sauer's door. Hey, Marty, he's got the greatest, cleanest, most purple restrooms in the entire planet.
Hold on. Wait a second. Wait 1 second. We got to do something about this button with the goat. That goat sounds like he's got no gonads. Give the goat some nuts.
I'll you know what, John? I'll get a goat button.
Thank you. Give me a goat with some nuts. I mean, we're giving people a compliment. It's like, what is this little castrated goat running around saying he's great?
Castrated goat is crazy.
I will agree that Sours does deserve a better goat sound than this one.
Yeah. You ever see one of those? You ever see one of those bulls and they got that? It's just this thing hanging down.
Big sack?
Yeah, we need a goat with a sack hanging.
We got Good Time joining us here in the lab as well. Good morning, Good Time. Thanks for joining us here today. You join us every single day during the morning loop, the first 15 minutes of our show. It's where we get you guys to check in, coming up at the 15-minute mark, the accountability check-in. Hey, we're working on something for you guys that's going to happen within the first 15 minutes. Producer Flynn and I are working on a contest. We're working on a contest. I'm one of those old school radio listen and win shows. So we're working on this whole premise that you check into the show in the first 15 minutes, and we might get some cash. We might find some cash to give you guys for rewarding you for listening. So we're working on that. So stay tuned for coming up. Good time. Good morning, Soyoung Park. Oh, so apparently Soyoung's internet works to send chat messages, but Soyoung's internet does not work to join the show. So Soyoung, good morning. Good to have you.
Brother, take her off the fire. She felt bad enough, man. You got to throw sand in her face. She did that to herself enough.
Soyoung knows the love here.
You better not make a mistake, Keith.
Oh, Soyoung and I are hanging out today. She's we're actually, guys. Soyoung, I've been talking to Soyoung. We'll do some business stuff here behind the scenes. So I'm excited to share some things we're working on. We're going to chat later today. She's an absolute fan of the lab here. She's a goat. There you go. I'll give her that one.
So we have a female goat sound, and let's get the male goat sound. How's that?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Is that different?
Is it different? Is it different? Hey, boys.
That's a good question.
I went for a run this morning, boys. And you know what? The good news is I went for a run, and then I got off the runner this morning, and I opened up the old email. And Johnny, Arnold sent me a note. Schwartz says, hey, Billis. I'm like, yeah, maybe you should go for a run. I'm like, oh. He's like, erectile dysfunction affects more than 30 million men in the United States and hundreds of millions worldwide. While there are many causes, research suggests being overweight or struggling with obesity can increase your risk of erectile dysfunction by 30 to 90%, Johnny. And I'm looking at you, pal, because we're the same age, man.
Well, brother, all that fat, forgive me, I might not be exactly correct, but I believe 1 square inch of fat has like maybe a mile of capillary veins. Let's not fill up all those capillary veins with blood in the belly. Let's send that blood down to the shaft and get the job. That's what we need, because the fat person has got too much tissue to fill up. The never going to get that good piece of wood when the body's got to fill up all those capillaries, miles of capillaries.
That's it. And if you're waking up this morning with the morning wood, don't roll over, because you learned yesterday you might break it, and we don't want to break the wood this morning, boys. But listen, a recent study found, Christina, that aerobic exercise can significantly improve erectile dysfunction, and in some cases completely reverse the condition. So Marty, if we got any boys laying around this morning considering hitting the snooze button, just sitting around going, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do right now, go for a run. Yeah, you might get some action from your partner later today. Hey, Marty?
We're talking about blood flow, baby. It's blood flow.
And lift some weights too. That's a testosterone booster.
Lift some weights.
Exactly. And you know what kills testosterone? Mm-hmm. Beer. That's it. You know it's NFL season, so the guys, they're getting the beers out, the 12 packs. So be mindful of that, with this upcoming NFL season.
That's it. Good morning, Erwin Curtis. You joined us here earlier this week, and you're like, what the hell is this show? And I think you were like, hey, I'm a millennial or a Gen Z or something. You said you were, and you test drive things before you buy them. I hope you've spent enough time this week to test drive the show where you're like, hey, I got to hit the subscribe button, because if you haven't, please do. Listen, by the way, subscribe to the channel, like the channel, share the channel, comment on the channel, tell everybody about our show. The only morning show that helps you guys get your day started. Every single day, the first 50 minutes, The Loop. We restarted every 24 hours to help you guys achieve your biggest goals. It's true. It's what we do. We give you positive information. We give you motivational stuff. Oh, yeah. Erwin Genrixer. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you. And 52, bro. Oh, Erwin, you, man. You, me, and Johnny, we are of the same age. Don't
say Marty. Don't say Marty.
Don't say Marty. No, Marty's the puppy in the room here. Marty's the puppy. Yeah. And we have a young man in the green room waiting for us as well, who's going to join us here in a few minutes here. So, all right. So we're at the 11-minute mark of the show here. I got one more thing I want to throw on the table for you guys as well. Johnny, this one is looking at you, because I know you're a massive proponent of this. I want you to talk about this, man. Again, a little note from Arnold. How you can, to improve your brain, target your gut. Johnny, you talk so much about producing serotonin in the gut. You talk about so much about improving gut health. Talk about this idea that a recent study found that to improve what's going on up in the skull, or frankly, to improve what's going on around down there in the shaft, improve the gut. Talk about gut health, Johnny.
What people don't understand, most people know what serotonin is. It's a feel-good drug. It makes us feel We feel okay, helps us deal with challenges, helps us deal with anxiety and stress. Basically, everybody thinks it comes through the brain, which it does, but the lion's share comes from the gut. So if you're eating processed foods, if you're eating foods that the stomach was not designed to digest, you are killing the lion's share of your serotonin. So pull out some of the processed foods. We've talked about this a lot. Literally inside of a week, your stomach will start moving back the other direction and you'll feel better, point blank. You'll have a better feeling of well-being. And let's be honest, in this crazy world we live in, isn't that what we're all looking for?
Yeah, it's all connected, man. Brain, gut health, erectile dysfunction, it's all connected. And our ambition here on the show is to help you guys start thinking about it. So as you guys are getting your day going, we are redefining masculinity here, Mornings in the Lab, in the Business Athlete Performance Lab, every single day of the week. All right, we're going to come back here with the accountability check-in in about a minute. And then, boys, Christina, I dropped something in your message this morning, Christina, as we were up having a coffee. And Johnny Marty, I saw a trailer this morning that brought me to tears.
Were they good or bad tears is the first question I got.
Johnny, they were exceptional tears of love.
Those are the best. Tears of joy, baby. Tears of joy.
I thought of you. I thought of Marty. I thought of Christina. I watched this trailer. There's somebody in it. I'm not going to show the trailer. I'm going to do the accountability check, and I'm going to come back and talk about it. But Will Ferrell. If you're a Will Ferrell fan, I am. I love Will Ferrell. Same age. Enzo, I'm Enzo. Irwin, I'm thinking you're probably a Will Ferrell fan as well. Same age, same demographic. He's got a new documentary dropping this November. We're going to talk about it in a quick second. But before we do that, we are going to go to the accountability check-in. It's time for Johnny to go get that water out of his body. It's time for Marty to go touch his toes. It's time for Christina to go and take care of what's going on in the back of the room. Jimmy,
Keith, you got to come up with a different phrase than touch your toes.
What would you like to do instead?
Just say stretch, man.
Marty's going to go and stretch. I'm going to give you this. All right. Hey, so this time of the show, we're going to give you guys something to consider. Irwin, what's shaking, brother? I appreciate you, man. All right. I got something for you guys right now. Are you a prisoner? Are you a prisoner of your own mind? Your thoughts, they might seem rational to you, but more often, in my experience, more often they're not. They're just fear dressed up as logic. You think, you overthink, and then you second guess, third guess, fourth guess. Next thing you know, your thoughts are spiraling out of control. You're playing out all these worst case scenarios. You're telling stories to yourself. Your mind works hard to protect you from discomfort. That's why. Like I was going for a run this morning. That's why you often tell yourself, I'm not ready. I don't want to go for a run. I don't want to go for a workout. Or shit, what if things go horribly wrong? But while you're thinking things over, there's someone else right now who didn't hit snooze today, who took action, who got their day started. And you know what, nation? You know what, Michael Della Oya? That person right now, they're winning. The difference between winning and staying stuck is trusting what we just talked about. It's trusting your gut. It's trusting your gut over those doubts that perpetuate through your brain. Because your gut, I'm telling you, your gut knows what your mind will. Admit that beyond safety, there's abundance. Oh, there's abundance. And you know what there mostly is? There's tons of fulfillment. So I invite you as you get your day started, get out of your mind, get your feet moving, build that momentum, and go attack that most audacious goal you have set out in front of you here today. That's it. Accountability check-in. We drop it every single day. We're on the 15-minute mark of the show. Something to get you guys out of bed to not hit the fucking snooze button. All right. I think my team is still touching their toes and using restroom breaks. I'm filling time waiting for them. Hey, Irwin, dude, we're going to keep it. I know we got to keep it in the guardrails, but you listen, I'm not going to put that one up there. We're going to keep some guardrails up there on the conversation. Johnny. We're going to bring our friend Michael Della Oya in one quick second here. We're going to introduce Michael to the crowd. Where's Marty? There's Marty. Oh, Mike Sullivan is here. Good morning, Mike. Good to have you here, man. 5:17 Pacific Standard Time. That is exceptional. And you know what, boys? Mike Sullivan found us here, Marty and John, a couple days ago. And he's like, what the hell is this show? And we're like, hey, come listen in and tune in. And you stuck around and you're back. Mike, I appreciate you coming here in the lab this morning. Of course, we got Real Deal Prime joining us as well. Zenelia. Good morning, Zenelia. You've joined the morning show, the only morning show for men, the only morning show to help you guys get your day started, get your ass out of bed and help prevent the snooze button. And it is this time on the show, Jimmy, we are going to pull in our guest. We're going to bring up Mr. Michael Della Oya to the lab here this morning once I get my buttons all sorted out. There he is. What's up, Michael Della Oya?
Morning, everybody.
Michael, what's up, brother? How are you today?
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, CMarty Fit and Jon Andersen. I'm having a blast here in Cleveland, Ohio, the 216.
The 216. The 216, the 216. We're here with Michael talking the power of the side hustle, lessons from successful entrepreneurs. Michael's a CEO, entrepreneur, CEO of Evergreen Podcasts. We don't talk podcasts on the show here. No, we just talk live shows. As Michael knows, I've teased him all along the way here. He's gone from 4 to 280 shows on the platform, Marty. He's won, Johnny, the guy's won over 70, not 69, not 71, over 70 podcasting awards. And here's why he's here today. Because he believes everybody should have a side hustle or a life passion. And you know what? He has his own in music. This dude is a DJ, the Lords of Discord. He dropped the music video last week or 2 weeks ago, Michael, and it was awesome. And if we have some time, we're going to show it here in a few moments. But Michael, thanks for joining us here today, man. I'm really glad you're here. And what's going on in the 216 today?
Well, it's a sunny day by Lake Erie, I have to say. And it's been a great week, and this is just a capstone day when you can walk outside. The sun is out there. We worked out last night, and I feel rambunctious today. And you guys are talking about mental clarity and gut health and shafts. I mean, it's a crazy, bizarre Good Morning America format that you guys have.
Yeah.
We are redefining male masculinity here in the lab, because you know what? We talk everything about shafts to emotions and men's crying all week, Della Oya. We've been talking about men's insecurities. And as a matter of fact, I woke up this morning to an article, and I teased it before the accountability check-in. I want to lean into it right now, but I'm a Will Ferrell fan. Michael, you a Will Ferrell fan?
Listen, I'm a huge Will Ferrell fan, and I've seen this, I think, movie clip that you're about to talk about.
It is exceptional.
Facebook. Yeah,
it is exceptional. Wild. So, Marty, John, I want to set the stage here. So, coming up in November, Will Ferrell is launching a trailer. Launching a documentary called Will and Harper. It is exceptional, and I want to get into it here. So. What it is about, it's this intimate, honest, and heartfelt documentary. Will and Harper hit the open road together to process this new stage of their friendship and reintroduce Harper to the country that she loves, this time as herself. But here's the thing, guys. Harper's transgender. Harper worked with Will at Saturday Night Live and was Will's, when Harper was a he, helped Will as one of his comedy writers. And they were best friends, became best friends. But then over time, their friendship kind of went away. And he became Harper, the transgender, and came out as a she. And Will opens up this trailer with a letter from Harper saying, I've now decided to transition into a woman. And Will's like, I want to get to know you, essentially. They decided to go on a road trip across America. Get into a car, put some cameras to reintroduce Harper to America. And guys, I cannot strongly encourage you enough to watch the trailer. Take some Kleenex with you, Jon Andersen, because you're going to cry. It moved me because you know what it did? It showed this human being their authentic self and just truly just being a real authentic human with a big heart. I couldn't help but be emotional. Johnny, I see you leaning in, pal.
I mean, it's an amazing story, but the first thing that hit me was how lucky is this guy?
Yes.
That he's on one side of the plate named Harper. He can go to the other side of the plate and the name still works. It's great. I mean, the right out of the gate, I'm thinking about if I'm switching sides of the plate, changing my name's got to be one of the weirdest things to do. I'm getting called by a different name now. All of a sudden you keep your name, but you're left-handed. Perfect. What a great, it was almost like God blessed him or her with that name.
Yeah, so Will and Harper's coming out this November, I believe it is. The trailer drops on Netflix. I invite you all to check it out. I invite you to, walk towards it with an open mind, walk towards it with a box of Kleenex, and walk towards it with curiosity. I cannot encourage that enough, nation. We are building a show to redefine masculinity, and everybody's welcome. We don't care what color you are. We don't care what gender you are. You don't care who you sleep with. We want you to be your true self, and we want you to come to the lab and hang out with us. And and if you don't agree, be curious. That's all that we ask, is be curious. Because that's the power of humanity. So I encourage you guys to check out Will and Harper, the trailer. I'm not going to be too political about it. Out, yeah, you really do. And I know, Michael, what's your first comment? Did you check trailer this morning, Michael? What did you think of it?
Did I check the trailer out this morning? Yeah. I saw it last night before I went to bed.
Yeah.
It was in my Facebook stream. I don't know if on Facebook, if you go into that video component, and it's like a 5-hour spiral. I go in there and I never come out of watching these little clips and videos.
I know. It's so true.
It is so true. It's mostly like, beard versus food, and then, the movie clips and Soprano clips. And so, yeah, I saw it yesterday. And there's a fascinating parallel story with me. There's a gentleman that I almost bought a company with here in Cleveland. Yeah. A man's man, had the big Jeep, had a tech company, married, kids. And about 2 years ago, I got an email in my LinkedIn box.
Yes.
Not necessarily from a John, but from a Johnny. Yeah, so John, you could switch your name, by the way, by just calling it IE. Johnny with an IE.
That's actually really good. I was, I mean, the hardest part for me also, somebody, hey, Joan.
Yeah, right.
Joan,
right. This Johnny, it looked familiar, and I was like, man, this individual looks familiar. I'll read the note, and it was a very similar note that this gentleman had
transitioned.
To the true self. Obviously he felt for many years that he was a woman and decided to change, and he became so. And listen, initially when it's someone that close or someone that it's a bit jarring, and there's no question about it. But then you just start to think, don't you want everybody happy with themselves? And right. Right? I mean, it's
right.
So we've talked a number of times, and he's moved away. He lives mostly in Florida, or she, I should say it. I apologize. She lives in Florida now, but we, occasionally we do reconnect on LinkedIn and say hello and see how everyone's doing. So it's a poignant film, and it's a necessary issue to be discussing right now.
Yes, I agree. You know what? And it's not, and we don't talk politics on the show. I always joke, I wear a red shirt, I wear blue underwear, and I wear orange pants. But I will say this, it is not lost upon me that the clip is dropping November.
Well, I got to say on this whole topic, just for anybody out there that has some sort of struggle with a question mark, I believe we all have male and female components in all of us, no matter what our gender is. I make the joke all the time, I'm a massive mama's boy. I am a woman trapped in a man's body. And I have zero problem. I think that's one of the reasons why I can cry in front of anybody.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, I think that, we all of us have the male female components in us. And for those people that are kind of confused which one's pulling the hardest, they're both in there. We all got it. So just embrace the fact that you're understanding yourself.
And that's what we are attempting and wanting to do with our messaging and the language and the type of community and space we are building here in the lab. I cannot repeat this enough, that my goal here is, when I wake up, is to work on redefining masculinity across the world right now, because it's become fucked, frankly. And I want people to feel safe here. I want people to come to this room, be in this room and be curious, ask questions, right? Challenge people, but do it with respect, dignity, and integrity, and most importantly, curiosity. And then even more importantly, John and Marty, use your ears to listen. That's all that I ask, right? And have a good discourse, because that's what we want to do here in the lab, here in the morning show. But hey, we're here to have a lot of fun, and that's what we do here every single day. We're coming towards the second half, the block.
Can I add something there, Keith?
Marty, please do. Yes.
I was going to add in, that just goes along with what we were talking about yesterday.
Yes.
When I said, it's 2024. So if you if you want to show your true identity or you want to be yourself, like now is the time to do it. It's the most accepted it's ever been ever. So if someone can get in the car with Will Ferrell, like the Will Ferrell, and come out and talk about, you know, their experience, you shouldn't have a problem with, you know, letting go of anybody in your life that doesn't accept your lifestyle or your choice or your preference. So just do it. And like I said, the hate that's around it, you know, like it's kind of fading away. So that can't be an excuse anymore. Just be yourself.
You're going to find out who really loves you when you make big decisions. Whether you're choosing to go from a man to a woman to a man. There's 1,000 choices you could make that's going to really help you see who loves you and who doesn't. You know, this one's definitely got to be at the top of the list. But I think I look at it, I think for those of you that are having trouble with it, it's a cleansing process. You're going to find out who your people are.
Yes, exactly right. And you know what? If they don't accept you for who you are, go get some new people. And listen, I know it's not that easy. I know there's folks and families where they're like, yeah, but that's my mom, that's my dad, that's my cousin, that's my aunt and their uncle, and they're not liking me anymore. I can't imagine what that feels like. And I have nothing but empathy for that situation. What I want to continue to express, though, is that you have the support of all of us here in the lab to find that courage to be yourself, and you're invited here. And for those of you that don't agree with us, go somewhere else. Go to a different show. We don't want you here anyways. So, all right, listen, the mornings in the lab. We're coming to the bottom of the first hour here. Marty, we're going to do the fit tip here, pal. Jimmy, we're going to get the fit tip ready. Then we're going to come back. We're going to get into a big, fun conversation with Michael Della Oya, the CEO of Evergreen Podcasts. The guy's known for his side gigs, Johnny, Marty. The guy's like an EDM DJ. I think quietly, the guy's just like piloting around around North America, just putting on his headset and his headphones, just like crushing all these trap festivals and EDM festivals. He probably came back from Ibiza last weekend, Marty. Just rocking and rolling everybody in Ibiza out there. Hey, was that where you were, Michael?
Well, a few weeks ago I was in Japan. So,
yeah, baby. Yeah.
All right, Marty, you ready to rock and roll with the CMarty Fit tip? Let's do that. Let's do the fit tip with Marty. We're going to come back and get into the chat with Michael about the side hustle, entrepreneurship, and learn more about his side hustle EDM business. All right, Marty, let's do it.
Let's do it, man. We got the fitness tip for today. All right. Let's get into it. So, go to the gym for the right reasons. All right. Your mindset is just as important as your workout. And your results, they all come from your mindset. All right. So if you're going to the gym out of guilt because you feel like you have to, your body's going to struggle to respond. Or you're going for a vacation, or you're going because you hate yourself, you're going for the wrong reasons. Right. So when your mindset sucks, it's easy to find excuses not to push yourself, skip workouts, or quit early. If you look for an excuse, you're always going to find one. Even if it's a BS excuse, you're going to find a BS excuse. Right. So here's the truth. If you treat the gym like a punishment, it's going to feel like a punishment. So instead of that, focus on positive reasons for working out. Think about getting stronger, not just burning calories, right? Your strength is your freedom. So it's going to help you move better. It's going to help you feel better and live a fuller life. Exercise is proven to reduce stress and improve your mood. So if that's one of the things you're concerned about when you're going through your work week, whether that's at the job, the family, or anything else, working out is going to help with that. Focus on how good you'll feel after the workout and not just how you look, right? The right mindset is about showing up consistently and doing everything perfectly. So when you have that positive mindset and you're working out for the right reasons, the results are a byproduct of that, right? So if you're driven by purpose and enjoyment, you'll stay on track on the tough days. If you approach the gym as an opportunity to grow mentally and physically, your body will start responding and you'll stick to it. So shift your mindset. The results will follow. That's the fitness tip for today.
There's the CMarty Fit tip. We drop it every single day during the morning show. Mornings in the Lab with Keith Bilous, Jon Andersen, producer Flynn. We drop it here around the half an hour mark of the show. We're tuning in with Michael Della Oya. We're talking the side hustle. We're going to come back in about 15 minutes with the Jon Andersen, the lifestyle tip of the day. But right now, we're going to get into, with Michael, why side hustles are essential for entrepreneurs. Boys, did you know that 44% of Americans report having a side hustle? Michael, why do you believe, because I know you do, and I love this perspective of you, which is why I invited you on the show today. Why do you believe having a side hustle is vital for entrepreneurial growth, especially as a CEO managing a big company? Like, how do you find time, Michael, You got big obligations, you got family, yet you find time for a side hustle. Let's talk about it, brother.
Well, one of the key tenets to my management philosophy of hiring people is we ask during the interview process their side hustles, what gets them intellectually curious. Intellectual curiosity is a very key thing for working in a creative industry. And we're very, point blank. Like, what is your side hustle? Do you sell cookies on the side, right? Are you a part-time chef? Are you a musician? It's a key thing for us. And that's how we kind of separate those who we really want and desire to work with and those that we do not. So we highly promote having side hustles. Now, the music, for me personally, is I'm not a musician. I can't read a note of music. And I discovered GarageBand during COVID, right? Like one day I was like on my laptop and I saw the button and I pushed it and it started opening up a world to me a little bit. And then, and I was so enamored by, I can hear something in my head and I can go find the instruments in GarageBand and make an approximation of what I'm hearing. And then for my birthday, the year after COVID, my wife got me Logic Pro.
Oh,
which has just been a game changer in it because the loops and the wave files, the MIDI files that you can put in there have been pretty dramatic. And so I personally like to do things just because I think I want to try to do them. For example, Keith, I've written 4 books on Cleveland history. I know barn burner topic to be sure, but the idea was one day I would like to write a book about Cleveland. I don't know why, but let's go try and do it. And I did it. And I've gotten 4 out there published. And then at some point in my life, I was like, I would really enjoy being a newspaper columnist. And so I had a contact at the Plain Dealer, which is the local newspaper here in Cleveland. And they're like, that's funny. We are actually looking for someone to write about entrepreneurship. Would you be interested? And I became a newspaper columnist. So it's been a lifelong thing of me. I'm intellectually curious. Like you mentioned, be curious.
Yes.
It's a great mantra. And we try to live up to that in the company. It's a personal philosophy of mine. And I'll see something and I'm just like, I'd like to go see if I can do that. And music was one of those things. By the way, I am surrounded by musicians at Evergreen. So our chief creative officer, David Moss, his band opened at South by Southwest a few years ago. Dave Douglas, who's our VP of sound engineering, he's the drummer of Reliant K, which was about 15 years ago, a very popular punk Christian band here in the United States. And then one of our former executives, Connor Standish, opened up for Dave Matthews Band. And they've all had an effect on me. They'll listen to a track and they're like, maybe I would move that about 16 beats forward. And start talking about compression and tempos and notes. And I have no idea what the hell you're talking about, but they're teaching me. And that's the great part of being on a journey where you're stating to the world, I'm intellectually curious about this. I want to be great at it. And so you just make the time and effort to make it happen. I do not even open up Logic Pro until about 9:30 at night.
Oh, yeah. That's your discipline, right?
It's a discipline, but I'm on that couch every night and just thinking of, I hear something in my head. I'll put it down on a track. I'm trying to be prolific. I'm trying to learn a new skill at 55 years of age. And you have to be disciplined with it. And discipline then affects everything else you do in life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I work out 4 times a week. I got to have that discipline. I want to be happy and have good gut health and all the other.
Yes. All the other come with it. Yes.
You can say chef, Michael. You can say chef.
I want to, but it's an American thing. That's one of the dirty words Americans can't say is word, right?
Yeah. Johnny, question for Michael.
Well, first off, I love, like you said, at 55, you're picking up a new skill. And I think one of the things that people tend to fear, diving into a side hustle is they're not going to be good. But, talk a little bit about, at 50, you started something new. You got to realize that you're going to suck when you start.
Yeah.
But that's okay. And you got to embrace the suck. and you're going to do it for a while, and you're going to suck a little bit less, and then one day you're not going to suck, and then after that you might be good. So talk a little bit about, our audiences. I think of that first step, being afraid to suck, is one of the big things that slows them down. You at 55, I love how you said, boom, here we go. So talk about that a little bit for us, please.
Well, another key component of my personal philosophy is just, if I want to go do something, I'm going to fumble, bumble, and stumble my way through it. Meaning you only learn through your failures and for the suckiness, right? Yes. And the early songs, I listen to them now and I cringe, and this is only like in 3 years, right? 3 or 4 years. Like, the early songs had a steady beat, and then they would pull in instruments at certain points in time and then pull them off. Very, very simple things.
But at the time, those were amazing, correct?
Game changing for me.
Yes. Right? I love it.
Just hearing a little triangle bell in the background or a little side beat here. These are amazing elements to me. And then, Connor Standish, who's not with us anymore, he sat me down. It's like, all right, here's a structure to a song, right? You've got verse, chorus, bridge. Those are the 3 main components of a song. And you can still do that in EDM. It's just how do you make the transitions, between the 3 of those. And that has been a game changer, because now I'm starting to play with, all right, I'll do verse, bridge, chorus, bridge, and then a second bridge back up to the main chorus. It adds a lot of flavor and variety to a song. And then you start looking at loop packages and wave files that can help connect all of this together. So you're dealing with my early songs may have had 4 or 5 tracks. The newer ones are hitting like 25 to 30. So the depth of music is getting, deeper. You're adding more flavor to it. And I'm excited to see where I'm going to be in 5 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Today. And it was my wife. My wife is probably the only person in life who's gotten me super focused, because my side hustles, there is a separate side to the ledger. You can have too many, and that can deter from your main thing. And my main thing, obviously, is my family and the business.
Yes.
I got a business. I got to focus on that. Got a wonderful family that I just very admire my wife and my kid very, very much. So, I only have a few vices in life, so to speak, right? And one being, the music. Well, it was my wife who said, you should put out an album. Let's try that. I had no idea how to do that. I found a producer. He guided me a little bit in the process, introduced me to DistroKid, which is a music distribution platform. Funny enough, they're also a sponsor of ours for our music catalog at Evergreen Podcasts. And it's not a connected thing. These were separate.
Yeah.
They kind of worked out in a unique way. And so I used DistroKid to put together my first album. I hired a friend of mine to do my album cover. Got the tracks together, put it out. And listen, it's not torching the charts, but I've had 35,000 streams in 2 months, which isn't too bad.
Wow.
Yeah, we're gonna tease Michael's. We're gonna put up the YouTube video here later on in the show. Here, it's pretty awesome. What's really awesome is that when you see Michael, you hang out with Michael, you talk to Michael, and you listen to his tunes, you're like, wait, this just doesn't add up. You're like, this dude's making this, and because I'm just telling you, you're going, this dude's making this. It is awesome stuff here from Michael Della Oya. He's making some EDM music. Hey, you're listening to Keith, Jon, CMarty Fit, and our guest this morning, Michael Della Oya. Mornings in the Lab. We drop Monday to Friday here. The Loop, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Our mission to get you guys going, get you guys out of bed. Zanelia Cat joins us in the conversation here. Michael, she says, I've gained so much knowledge in different industries that I decided to use the knowledge for myself in a business. I just get so scatterbrained that I want to do everything. Problem is focus, I guess. And then Erwin Curtis jumps in. Hey, Erwin, thank you. You're in all week, Erwin. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a great weekend as well. We'll see you Monday morning for the restart of the Loop here next week. And then, of course, our friend David Sowers. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for tuning into the show here as well. Marty, you're listening to Michael talk. Questions for Michael before we and then Johnny, we're going to throw to the lifestyle tip here in a few minutes. But Marty, questions for Michael.
Yeah, so it seemed like you have a passion for writing. Am I correct?
That is correct.
So do you recommend when people are trying to figure out their side hustles, do they start with something they're passionate in? Because it seemed like you started with, you came out with the books, then you did the column and the newspaper, and then you kind of branched out after that. So do you feel like people should follow that path to maybe set themselves up for success?
I think you have to be disciplined in your approach, obviously, if you have a passion. Listen, we're not all going to be neuro surgeons, brain surgeons. But if you have a passion for, this is a great example. One of my coaches at Orange Theory loves astronomy, and here's a coach and doing physical activity, and he was talking to me about, I just love astronomy. I was like, you should probably look at buying one of those big camera filters. You can look up in the sky and see what's up there. And so he bought this thing. He's taking all these great photos of like literal galaxies, which is just mind-boggling to me that, here's a kid who, became a coach who really wanted to be an astronaut. And now he's diving into astronomy. And that's the thing. I mean, grab onto your passions in life and to your interests and just dig deep. And I dug deep in writing, but here's the funny thing, at least to me, is that it was all about being creative, taking a nugget of idea and trying to create it. I love creation. I absolutely love creating new things, which feeds the passion for the podcasting. And now we're about to launch our own fast channel with video content. So it's just, we dig deep on the creativity and you'll find what you want to do in life.
Yes. Hey, you're hanging out with Michael Della Oya, Keith Bilous, Jon Andersen, and CMarty Fit. Coming up to the 45-minute mark of the show here. Johnny, you ready for the lifestyle tip of the day, brother?
I'm always ready, baby.
I know you are. So we're going to do that. We're going to do the lifestyle tip with Jon Andersen. Then we're going to come back with Michael. We're going to talk about turning your passion into a profit. And when you're doing a side hustle, is it always about profit? Or is it as much about, as Michael says, unlocking the creativity, perhaps finding another purpose in your life? Perhaps as 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock comes, you're like, I got to do something creative to unlock the energy in the brain before I go to bed and get up the next day. So we're going to come back after Jon Andersen's lifestyle tip and lean into turning your passion into profit. But before we do that, I'm going to get this going. Oh, there's Johnny's sound effects.
Let's do this. That's it. Everybody get out of here. Here we go. All right. We all know the phrase waking up on the wrong side of the bed. When we all want to get up and have a great day. Well, here's the thing. When you understand how our brains were wired and created, and I'm going to give you a tip to help overcome this default mechanism that really gets us up. Many of us are on the wrong side of bed often. So check this out. The way that we were designed, way back when the human being was designed, we lived in a very difficult place to survive. Survival was our number one concern for the day. So when we were designed, our brains are literally programmed to scan our surroundings and pick out the threats and the problems. That's what kept us alive. If we weren't programmed to see that stuff, we were going to get eaten for lunch. So the difference is our brains haven't really changed that much since we were created. However, our world has changed drastically. None of us have any concern about getting eaten for lunch unless you're walking out in front of a fast-moving bus. So that being said, since we know that our brains are looking for problems, when you wake up, you're just coming about, immediately your brain starts thinking about problems and things that you got to deal with. And it puts us up, waking up on the wrong side of the bed. So here's the tip. Here's what you do. Your brain doesn't have a capability to be stressed out and grateful at the same time. So when you start thinking about all these problems and the shit you got to deal with, and you're getting stressed out, catch yourself, stop. And what I would suggest, what I do every morning is I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. And it doesn't matter how bad your life is. You can find 3 things you're grateful for. It can be the taste of a warm cup of coffee. It can be your kids. It can be your wife. It can be the fact that you woke up another day. Your brain doesn't have the ability to be stressed out and grateful at the same time, which means you have the ability to wake up and put yourself on the right side of the bed every day. So make use of this tip and have a great day every day. Rock and roll.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Wake up with gratitude, nation. Johnny gave you something to think about. Pull that pen out. Pull the journal out. You're waking up right now. If you're getting up just right now, you're already 47 minutes late. The show started 47 minutes ago. And if you hit the snooze button twice, Johnny, they're 18 minutes behind already.
That means that they haven't taken one of the lifestyle tips and they still have that phone by their bed. Get that thing in another room. If you got to get on your feet and take some steps to get to the phone, at that point, you'll have the balls to stay on your feet and not hit the snooze button. So come on.
That is it. That is it, nation. Get your ass out of bed. Get your ass going. It's 7:48 Central Time. Mornings in the lab. And we're talking side hustle, turning your passion into a profit. Boys, 1 in 3 people with a side hustle use it to generate additional income. And, here's one thing that I really I struggle with, Michael, when I hear about side hustles and I hear about these side projects, I'm always like, okay, I got to make money at it. So I'll be honest with you and vulnerable. I hear you doing these creative things and I hear these hobbies. I'm like, yeah, but when you make money at it. And I know that that's not your purpose, but that to me is where I really struggle. Like, and how do you do things with not hoping to make money at it, Michael?
Yeah, I'm never going to be Taylor Swift in this industry, right? It's just not going to happen. But in life, I think passion should always lead first. Even in the early days of the podcasting business, and to give you some context, that first year when we started Evergreen, we got 4 shows out and we did 17,800 downloads. This year we'll do something like 320 shows, close to 34 million downloads. But it was the passion that fed us, because the early days, again, we were fumbling, stumbling, and bumbling our way through it. No idea what we were doing, how to position a show, how to grow a show, how to build an audience. All these things, but we learned over a period of time. Now I should mention that part of the equation was we had a great founder and a family office that had invested in us and made sure that we had the capital to learn the mistakes, understand the industry, and then be pretty vibrant. So you always lead with passion first. The profits will come. I was casually surprised that how much revenue we made last year, because revenue is not a driving factor for us. We're very pinned on growth. What's sort of we're more focused on building bigger shows now, gaining a bigger audience, being more global. Revenue is always that 5th or 6th thing on the list. Now there's a point where that's going to change, right? And for the side hustle, it holds true as well. My wife, for the first time, asked me, like, actually, how much money have we spent on your hobby here of doing music? And I was very coy with the answer. I'm like, we should probably put that stuff down in a spreadsheet. Let me get back to you on that. But you lead with your passions, and the money will follow. If that's your goal, I think for most people, their side hustle is they need an outlet for their passions and for their creativities, and money's not even in the equation. It's just the act of doing something that they love and enjoy. And I love and enjoy music, and it's something I can share with my kid.
Yeah.
And she was really proud when I put the album out. She's more proud about this little album I put out than anything I had done at Evergreen. And she's 10, so the context is not fully realized with someone that young. So she was telling all her friends, like, hey, my dad did an album, and she'd show them on her iPhone and things like that. So that was really just a cool thing. And I think that's why most people do side hustles. Yes.
Marty, you as you were starting your training career, less brunches, more crunches came up, and it started as a side hustle, didn't it, Marty? When did you know? And you've told me the story privately before, and you might even you think you told it on the show a couple times in the past, but when did you know you wanted to make that side hustle into something that you were going to make a living off of, Marty?
I knew it instantly, when I got the reaction I got. So, I got into selling the shirts and the merchandise because people were interested in it. And, I'm a catchy guy, come up with phrases all the time. So instantly I knew it was something, I enjoy talking trash and making these phrases. So it didn't take a long time for me to figure that out at all.
Yeah. And Johnny, what about you, man? Because your whole career, you're proud of the fact that, I've never had a job for somebody. I've always been my own self-made man. I've always gone out and made income and everything. Talk about your balance of I'm doing this and this little hustles on the side here and shifting priorities around, Johnny, with side hustles and priorities.
Well, I mean, I got out of college and I had zero intention of getting a job. Zero. I didn't go to college because I was going to use a degree to go to work. Yes. I went to college because it gave me 5 more years to pursue my dreams, is what it was. I just threaded in chicks and a little golf in the process. Class was just something I had to get out of the way in the morning. Anyway, but what I'm getting at is that I dove right into it, and I think the fact that I had kind of addressed my fear of failure, so I wasn't afraid to get in there and fail. But I think it's a great conversation, but I think there's a second layer here that we haven't really uncovered that most people need to think about.
Yeah.
Of course, you got your job. Most people got a job. You can't just quit your job. You got to take that passion, take a couple hours a day, work on that. And if you do it right, that the income from your side hustle and your passion will hopefully eclipse your job. Then you can go into work one day and say, hey, thank you. It's been great, but I got this other thing going. And so for me, here's that second layer. And I think when people see the second layer, it's like another something that you go, man, I want that, because chasing the money really, really puts the whole thing out of it. If you're chasing the money, you're going to have a hard time getting there. But once you get to the point where your side hustle, your passion is actually supporting you. And this is where it was so profound for me. I came to the point as I realized, wow, I am never, for the rest of my life, going to do something that I don't enjoy for money. Yeah. And that was profound. That changed my life in ways that I can't even explain. And unfortunately, most people never get a chance to have that light bulb go off in their head. And it was almost like, it reminded me as the fat little boy trying to, learn in school. I would just didn't get it. All of a sudden, boom, the light bulb would go off. I'm like, holy shit, I get it now. It was one of those light bulb moments like, oh, I am never, ever going to have to do something. I'm never going to chase a dollar bill, because if I don't enjoy what I'm doing, I'm not going to do it. And when I'm always chasing the feeling, I'm chasing the passion, that's a different way to live than chasing the dollar bill. So for those of you that you're engaged in you're taking your side hustle, you're committing those few hours a day, just remember there's another layer to this.
Yes.
And once you get to that next layer, you will have changed your life in ways that most people can't even comprehend.
Yes. 30% of entrepreneurs report that their side hustles affect their primary job's performance. Michael, looking at you, man, you're not, you're the boss. You're the man. You're the CEO of Evergreen Podcasts, the United States' biggest podcast network. Yet we're here to talk about side hustles. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, are you Elon Musk in disguise where you got all these things happening? Like, how do you not let the side hustle affect the primary job? And you did say a few moments ago that you're like, I don't turn Final Cut Pro on until 9 o'clock, 9:30. My family's first, my children are second. I got the businesses up there. Then the side hustle happens. But how do you ensure that balance, Michael, so that the side hustle doesn't take over the primary hustle?
Well, there's two tracks here. John's right. It may someday become the gig for you. And that's listen, if I could live just doing music all the time, believe me, I would.
Yes.
I would love to travel. I would love to be on stage, but you start at the lowest rung possible in any industry that you start into. So I'm okay at starting and being humble about it. Listen, it's coming at a unique time in my life where I'm literally holding on to a rocket ship with fingernails, and that being, Evergreen. It's probably one of the fastest growing independent podcast networks in the United States. And
that's awesome.
We're about to make a big announcement soon that it's going to be a game changer for us. But that's the focus. I mean, I've worked all my professional career to get to a point where I'm in an industry that I love. I'm part of the leadership structure of that endeavor. And we've got a funder, an investor who's just been with us from the very beginning and has given us a lot of leeway. And we've raised, over $8.5 million for the operations of the business and another probably $1.5 million of acquisitions. So I'm blessed on the professional side. I'm also pretty blessed that I've got just enough time during that day, to make that side hustle happen. I mean, we should all be so blessed to do it. And it's forced me to be disciplined. I get up at 6:15 every day because I want to make sure my kid gets to school. Now, she doesn't want me to drive her to school anymore. She wants to ride her bike. But what she doesn't know is that I actually follow her down the street in my car every day to make sure that she gets to her school.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm going to get arrested by the police someday. Like, what are you doing following me? Like, that's my daughter. That is my kid.
Oh, goodness.
I'm so protective of her. And, she's got a little posse now. She drives to school on her bike with a bunch of other kids. But I just want to make sure that they all get there safe and sound. And then immediately after that, I'm at the business from 8 until, 6 or 7 o'clock. And I go work out and then family time and then the music. And I like that routine. I finally got the discipline in my life. Listen, when I was 25 or 30, that was definitely not the case. I've got a reputation here in Cleveland because I lived the life of 10 men in this city. And I'm not ashamed or abashed by it, but I was 44 when I met my wife. We got pregnant 4 months into the relationship, and it was, and I was pretty glib with life up to the point when she had some photos. You get those little photos of the baby inside the womb, and I was a bachelor. I was like, dude, all I remember of these photos were like the 2D where you see the little spine and little hands and feet. I turned one page, and it was a full fucking face looking back at me like a 3D face. I'm like, holy shit, this is real. Yeah. I remember very visceral. I still have that photo of my baby in utero kind of staring back at me, and it scared the hell out of me. Like, I have to get serious with life, and I got to get serious now.
Oh.
And I had just sold a company at that point in time, and I was going to ride that out for a while. Like it wasn't a home run, but it was enough money to get this house, make us comfortable. And I was thinking, I'm just going to ride the wave. My wife was an attorney. She was a partner at a law firm at the time. And she was like, maybe we should start getting back to work. We got a kid now. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I told her the only reason I would start working again is if I became a CEO of a company. I put that out in the ether. And I don't know if I told the story last time, Keith. Like, I said that out loud. When you put positive context to what you want in the world.
Yes.
Sound like Jon Andersen.
Yeah, there are mysterious forces out there that are trying to make that happen for you. I believe this.
Yes.
Brother. Oh, brother. I so agree.
It's true. It is absolutely true. And I said,
get him, John.
If you don't have the balls to ask for it, you're never going to get it. Come on, people. Have some stones. Tell the world what you want. Stand behind what you want.
Hey, world, listen to Jon Andersen. He's right. I put that out 2 days later. I kid you not. I got a call from a friend of mine, a guy named Steve Bilous. And Steve said, I just interviewed for this job. And I told him, I'm not the guy, but I know the guy. And you're the guy. You have to call them. And that turned out to be Evergreen Podcasts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I said it. It went out in the ether. It happened, and I had no joke. It's
Dude,
like,
that just gave me chicken skin, man. I got the goose pimples all over me right now.
It was
that's
the
good
invisible
shit.
hand guiding me through life. And I was like, I'm going to make this my focus. And my wife, having my daughter was just the biggest. I had 2 big gifts in a row, all within a year.
Yeah.
So I got real serious about life. And then, my wife was kind of like, what are you going to do next? And then that's what started the music. Of course, in COVID, everything kind of shut down. I was literally taking a nap on the couch when I saw the GarageBand button. I was like, yeah, maybe this might be interesting to play with this during COVID. And then, that started the music thing. So
there you go.
And so when you started playing with that GarageBand, it kind of gave you a feeling that you wanted to chase, so to speak, right? It was just something you wanted to pursue. And that's what I'm always telling people, don't chase the dollar, chase the feeling, chase the emotion. You know, the dollar will come if you get good enough at chasing that feeling. Is that correct? Am I on track with that, brother?
John, your philosophy is super centered. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true.
I love it.
Because it unlocked a talent I've had my whole life that I could never quite uncover, which is I could hear things in my head, melodies, beats, and I'd be singing them out loud or, you know, tapping the table and, you know, like, people, are you a drummer? Like, what's going on? And I was, no, I'm just trying to get something out of my head. And then I'd forget about it because you always do that, right? At night, you go, oh, this is the best statement I've ever made in my life, or the greatest, you know, you've coined a term, and you forget about it after you sleep. But now I can canonize it. I have a way to record the things I hear in my head and get them down and refine them. It was liberating, absolutely liberating. But you can't have we all have fear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You gotta beat the fear. You got to beat the fear, and you got to dive into that pool and figure out how to swim. It's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it's a thing for everybody listening. It's so profound because when you face your fear, when you lean into fear, it gives you that little feeling in your stomach.
Yes.
That feeling in your stomach is power. Harness that. Don't let that feeling have you run away. There's fight or flight. Don't run away. Fight. That feeling is power. That feeling is a motor. Put it to work.
And I'll tell you what to put to work. I'll put your finger to work and subscribe to our channel. Mornings in the Lab. We drop 8 o'clock Eastern time every single day. The Morning Loop, the Morning Show, Mornings in the Lab with Keith Bilous, CMartyFit, Jon Andersen, and our guest today, Michael Della Oya. And we got producer Flynn sitting in the green room there right now. We're talking side hustles, passionate side hustles, making business on the side. Michael is an award-winning CEO of Evergreen Podcasts, and on the side, the guy's an award-winning EDM DJ as well. He's making great tunes on the side. We're talking side hustles. We're going to get into Jim. We're going to get into the creator spotlight in a few moments. We're going to wrap up our chat here on side hustles, and then we're going to get into my goal here today as we wrap up the conversation, boys and girls, is to talk about the last segment around men's insecurities this week. Being introverted or too quiet. So I want to keep the conversation going. But Michael, one last question for you around side hustles. So we're going to do side hustles, and then Jimmy, we're going to do the creator spotlight. So Johnny can go use the break. I know the clock, Johnny. And then we're going to come back and do being introverted or too quiet. But Michael, one last question for you on this topic alone on side hustles. Is there a time, would you give advice for somebody who's engaging in their side hustle, trying? It's not working. Just like your wife said, how much resources are we putting into this? Is there perhaps a point where it's like, maybe we have to stop chasing the passion? Michael, what would you give advice to somebody on that perspective?
I would never say fully table it. You know, I think, listen, life is going to give you moments in time where you're not going to be able to focus on that. That's just the facts of life. However, if your goal is to be a writer or a chef, then you need to go realize those passions. My dad was a great cook. He wanted to be a chef, but his main job was a machinist, and he never ever jumped out of being a machinist because, you know, he thought, if I do my side gig, I'll never be able to make enough money for my kids. I think we were so young and we had no understanding of money or privilege that I think we wouldn't have even realized as kids had he made the switch from machinist to a chef, and we would just wrote it out with him to do it. And it was his biggest regret. Now, he passed away about 2 years ago, and it was in that time where it was clear that he was not long for the world, that he was lamenting to me of his lack of faith in himself to make that happen. Which struck me because around the same time, a friend of mine was telling me that he was walking through a retirement villa, like, you know, an old person's home. And he was here, all these cries and this depression that was setting in. And it wasn't because they were sick. It was because they were thinking about the would-haves, could-haves, and should-haves of the world. Yeah. When you're that old and it's past, when you're past due a little bit, it's going to eat you fucking alive if you don't attempt your passions, right?
Yes.
Oh, I mean, I got to jump in here if that's okay. Are you finished, Mike? I don't want to interrupt you.
Please, John.
You know, we tell our kids, you know, we want you to be happy. We want you to do what you want to do. We want you to chase your dreams. And our kids, for the most people, their kids look back at them and the parents are not giving the kids enough credit. They're saying to go do all this. And the kid's looking back, and there's a certain point, I don't know, maybe it's 11, 12, 13 years old. The kid looks back at the parents and says, well, why aren't you doing that, Dad?
Yes.
Yep.
And it's like, I mean, it's like, it's a form of child abuse. If you ask me, it's like, we're telling them what to do. The kids don't give a shit what you say. They care what you do. So if you want to teach your kid, if you really want to give your kid the gift of life, he's got to watch you pursue your shit. And even if you haven't made it, the fact that you have that side hustle, you're pushing into, you know, trying to realize that dream. You're teaching your kid to do the same thing. So for those of you that think you're doing your child a disservice for investing some time into your side hustle, you're actually giving your kid the biggest gift of life.
Yes. Well said, Johnny. And you know what? I listen, this is not a side hustle for me, as you all know. But John, Marty, as we're building this platform together, you know, it's not lost upon me, but the similarities that what Michael's got going on down there with Evergreen, right? And it's not lost upon me that this is my passion. This is what I've always wanted to do. And for those of you who are tuning in and listening, and I know Marty's the same way, right? You're watching this show get better every single day. Why? Because I
came to be a part of it. That's why. Shit. Let's just be honest. It's a simple answer. Shit. I became a part, and the thing just starts getting better. Come on.
Yeah,
hey, but John, you wanted to join me and Keith though.
Yeah,
Keith,
right. He came and
Keith will hold it down, and you're like, "Hey guys, I want to join, man. I want to be a part of this. I love what you guys do."
They got this great live platform, and they're just letting it sit there. Let me come on board and help this thing take off.
Marty, did you invite this guy to the show or what? I don't know, but we got Johnny.
I did it.
Michael,
nope.
Johnny showed up a month ago, and he's like, "Hey, I like your show, man. Do you think I can come back?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can come back." Fuck, the guy hasn't left. So now we got Andersen on the show with us. It's like he shows up every single day. And then I've been learning from the guy. I open up my fridge. The guy's all about eggs, Michael. I open up my fridge and I look at eggs with John's head on them all the time because he's like, you gotta eat eggs. You gotta eat eggs. So I'm like, oh fuck, there's Jon Andersen's head in my fridge. We're actually gonna sell Jon Andersen head stickers for people to put them on their eggs in the fridge so they can be prompted to get their protein throughout the day. Hey, you're hanging out with Keith, John, Marty, and Michael Della Oya joining us from the Evergreen Podcast Network. We have some comments coming from the stream here. Good times, like, yes, well said, Johnny. And Fit Presenter comes in. Shaking Mike, good to have you here, brother. The best sermon is a good example. Exactly. My dad dropped out of the 9th grade, then reinvented himself professionally in his 40s and made it big as a realtor. Boom. Good job, Michael. Thanks for sharing that. Yes. And then Mike Sullivan, one of our guests that joined us here 2 weeks ago, Michael, he's like, what the hell is this show? You guys are talking about what? You're talking about feeling? You're talking about men stuff? We're like, yeah. So Mike just subscribes to the show. He's like, what if your passion doesn't make money? As in fiction writing or acting. In other words, it's not in demand like math and science or nonfiction writing. Do you find a way where there's a way? Good question. Michael, is there always a way to find something?
There's always a way.
Yeah.
The world is too compressed anymore.
Yes.
Right. And by the way, we've democratized technologies so that you can actually go do these things. Listen, 15 years ago, could I put out an album? No. Because it just wasn't a viable way. There wasn't a viable technology for me to do this 15 years ago. Or to write. I mean, 20 years ago, you could start writing blogs. And how many people made that leap from blogs to major writers? A lot of them. Not everybody, but a significant amount. That's how I got started. I was writing a blog and then translated into books and then to the columnist position. So it can happen. Podcasting, that's another great.
Yes.
The great thing about podcasting, democratized technology. Now, running a podcast business, the worst thing about podcasting is democratized technology. Yes. There's 3 million of them out there, and you got to emphasize the ones that we have. But listen, the world is such that to be an entrepreneur, it's the best time to be an entrepreneur and to have a side hustle because the technologies are out there to make it happen for you.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
whoever the gentleman said, they're an actor. What I can't remember what else he said.
It was Mike.
There's so many people that are trying to be an actor or trying to be a professional athlete. They don't quite make it, but they end up getting a job in the back office of a pro sports team, or they end up working for Paramount Pictures, and they're still involved in what they love. They're just not wearing the exact same hat that they set out to get. There's nothing wrong with that. My career is a perfect example. I bounced around to 3 different versions of what I could do, because I knew if I was performing and it had something to do with lifting weights, I was going to be happy.
Yeah, and now he's shooting his mouth off, boys and girls. Jon Andersen here in the lab with us. That's what he's doing here. He's moved from bodybuilding to strongman to throwing people around to now just throwing people around with the old yapper. Of course, we share it with love here. Jon, Keith, and Marty, and our guest, Michael Della Oya. Boys, Johnny, I think it's time for us to do a little break. You're going to do a little break. We're going to do the creator spotlight, Jimmy. And then we're going to come back and we're going to wrap up the show with a conversation. My goal here is to wrap it up with a conversation around men's insecurities and being introverted or too quiet. So, Michael, Jon is going to excuse himself to go do a restroom break, and we're going to pull you, and we're going to move Jon off the stage. We're going to do this here. Boom. We're going to leave Michael up there. And then, Michael, at this point in the show, what we like to do on LinkedIn, there's so many awesome creators out there these days, and people doing great work and looking for recognition, and not even looking for recognition, frankly. But there's so many great humans doing such good work. We decided here on the show to take the big ass Mornings in the Lab light, find somebody on the platform, and then take that light, Michael, and shine it on them. And then just jack up the lumens and shine it bright, and then create some content and celebrate them. And then most importantly, Michael, is we surprise them, because they generally have no idea that we're going to do this. So we surprise them, we celebrate them, we create content, and then we pop it on the platform, and they wake up and like, holy shit, man, these people are celebrating me. Yeah, we are. So today, Jimmy, Christina, hey, producer Flynn, are you there? We're going to bring her up here right now. There she is. We're going to bring up producer Flynn to the stage here. Christina put this in my feed this morning. She's like, Keith, I got somebody for us who's going to be today's creator spotlight. And I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be a good creator spotlight. So Marty, Christina, Michael, today's creator spotlight for Mornings in the Lab for Friday of the Loop is Jay Akonso. So Jay is from the greater Boston area. I think that's where So Young is actually. Jay is from the greater Boston area, and we are celebrating him today because Jay is an expert in differentiation and storytelling. He helps experts and brands stand out by developing impactful intellectual property and resonating deeply with their audience. He's an advisor to 200 plus clients. He's worked with top brands like Salesforce, GoDaddy, Zillow, well-known as renowned thought leaders, including Google's employee training experts. He's a co-founder and host. Michael, Jay's co-founder of the Creator Kitchen, and he hosts the podcast. Hey, here's a podcast for you, maybe. How Stories Happen, and the docu-series Against the Grain. He's an author. Marty, is he a best-selling author? And he's a speaker, and he's the author of Break the Wheel and has delivered keynotes across 25 states and 3 countries. Christina, highlights for you. Why are we highlighting Jay here today in the lab as I go through it? Because I know when you threw it over to me, you're like, hey, we got to talk about this guy. So Christina, let's talk about Jay Akonso.
Yeah, so I mean, Jay, I followed for quite a while. And what I've always appreciated about Jay is his ability. He's got this unbelievable experience, as you can see. He's worked with these big names. He's got a podcast. He represents as like the killing it type, right? He's doing all the things. I came across one of his posts yesterday, and he talked about the realities. Basically, don't let me fool you. Don't let anyone fool you. Having your own business, being an entrepreneur, being a solopreneur is really fucking hard. And in light of that, I've had to take on freelance jobs, gig work, consulting. It's not like the business I'm working on immediately made me money and enough money to feed my family. And I don't think personally we talk enough about that. The reason I am the producer of this show is for that exact reason. I've got my own business. I'm building it, but I know it's going to take time. And we talk about the importance of patience. And because of that, I got to feed my kids and my wife and my family. So find something that allows you to maintain that creativity, that is aligned with what you're doing, hopefully pays you to learn, which is what I'm getting on this show. And I think Jay's the perfect example of why that's so important and why we need to talk about that more.
So we welcome you to check out Jay Akonso's profile on LinkedIn. He's today's Creator Spotlight. Jay, we're celebrating you, man. Keep doing that awesome work. And that post you put out yesterday or a couple of days ago around, grinding it out as a solopreneur entrepreneur and, having to find a day job and having to find ways to make ends meet. Christina's right. There's a lot of people out there in this exact situation. So nation, as you're going through your feeds and you're seeing everybody travel the world in their yachts and they're going to Ibiza and they're driving all these expensive cars, I'm thinking much of it is fake. I'm thinking much of what Jay is talking about is real. Christina.
Or Keith, they're not like you. A lot of people that are living that life and moving to Panama to save money and make dollars meet in a different way, they're single. They don't have responsibilities. They don't have a family to feed. And that's totally cool. Do your thing. Yes. But they're not like you. And so the same path that worked for them that they're trying to sell you on is not going to work for you. You need to find a path, one, that's your own, and two, that's actually aligned with models like Jay saying, this is actually how it worked for me. And these are some learnings you can take from it.
Yes. Well said. So Jay, congratulations, pal. We're celebrating you today. Have yourself a great weekend. We are inviting you here into the lab, Jay, to be a guest on our show and for you to pay it forward for somebody who you want to celebrate in the Mornings in the Lab Creator Spotlight. So Michael, that's what we do here in the lab. We like to celebrate good human beings. Let's bring Johnny back up on the stage here. And let's work towards wrapping up the conversation here today, guys. So we have been chatting all week around men's insecurities. And for the last 8 minutes of the show here before we say goodbye here, I know we got a hard stop at the bottom of the hour here. I want to quickly lean into this idea of being introverted or too quiet. A 2022 survey, boys, girls, by Psychology Today found that 40% of introverted men felt insecure about their quiet nature, particularly in environments that value extroversion. Hey, Marty, I'm going to look at you, pal. Why do you think that is? Why do you think society has this preference for extroversion? And do you think it's causing introverted men to feel fake and feel insecure about themselves and act fake? And is this a challenge you find in your circles, Marty, about this whole idea that people want extroverted, and it's making the introverted guys feel unsafe? Marty.
Well, I think, society has been, conditioned to put a mask on, right? Mm-hmm. So if you are introverted, people can go in the workplace and act like they're extroverted. You can act extroverted at the grocery store, at the gym. You can somehow be someone who you're not. And I think social media has played a part in that as well. You'd be surprised at how many people, even yourself and myself, we've come out on the show and said that we're introverts in real life. Mm-hmm. Nobody would think that watching the show, but yes, I think to kind of, gel with other people or mesh with other people, you kind of have to put on, you have to kind of be an extrovert to put yourself out there, express yourself, and let people know who you are. Yes. Michael, in your experience, is this a thing? Is this a thing in the culture you've been around, perhaps within the industry or friends in your circles? Is this a thing that you pay attention to or you've talked with in circles with your buddies, being introverted or extroverted, and those feelings of, I need to be extroverted. I need to put myself out there. Michael.
For sure. A lot more in the last few years than when I was perhaps growing up. Listen, I struggle with being an introvert, believe it or not. I am a pretty quiet cat, but I force myself to, and you have to, I think, as a leader, you got to force yourself a little bit to talk up and say your piece. And it's the comfort that you feel with yourself. And we talked earlier about that Will Ferrell clip. And
yes,
obviously this writer friend of his was beginning to feel more comfortable with who they are and they wanted to make a change. And it's the same with me as a CEO. It's same with John trying to, transition from heavyweight lifter to, a talking head on a radio show. It's the fear. The only thing that's holding any of us back is fear, regardless if you're introvert or extrovert, right? And so if you fight the fear, you're going to find out a lot more success than you would ever thought imaginable. And we all measure success differently, right?
Yes. But Christina, your comments on this too. Tina, commenting on introverted or being extroverted.
Listen, I'm an introvert as well. A lot of people can't believe it. It's very different to be behind a screen and talking to folks and engaging and writing and creating content than it is to be face to face with people. And I think for me, that's the big difference. I'm much more comfortable in this setting. Can I go out and be extroverted? Yes. As an entrepreneur, have I had to be extroverted? There is a certain reality around that. You're having to sell yourself. In this digital world where we're creating businesses, it's not as much. But when I was building my tech company, you're damn right, I had to be extroverted. I had to pitch, I had to show up, I had to be talking to different people. So I think it's a skill that you can develop. It doesn't mean you have to be an extrovert, but you may have to participate in extroverted feeling activities, and that's okay too.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Johnny, I'm going to come to you, Johnny. Yeah. So listen,
I got. I'm sorry. I got to just. There's. Yeah. So for me, I mean, both of these parts of me are alive and well. You know, as a little guy, I was a massive introvert because all I wanted to do was leave me alone. I wanted to just disappear. Well, as I started to understand who I was and what I wanted, and I started to realize that as I put my daily rhythm in play, as I developed my 24-hour loop, as I developed my routines and my patterns and my habits, that's what gives me the strength to be an extrovert. If I wake up and I don't do my shit, you're going to see a very different person. And so I think for me personally, you know, I can get myself out of my shell, building the confidence to be an extrovert by doing the things that I need to do every day to give me the confidence to be who I want to be as an extrovert. Yeah. Yeah. Marty.
No, I'm right there with you, Johnny. I think with my my basketball career, me being the loser, we talk about that a lot on here, Keith. I think I kind of went into an introvert shell, and I already was an introvert. But just like Johnny, as I grew to be comfortable with who I am and know who I am even more, that's when the extrovert came out. Right. I have no problem disagreeing. I have no problem putting my opinion out there if it's different than the majority of people, or if it's going to be a little polarizing, as some people like to call it. But definitely, you kind of have to be an extrovert, kind of like Christina said, especially in the entrepreneur world. So. Yeah.
Well, and I think this is a great way in many ways, gentlemen, to wrap the show up here, Christina. You know, we started the show, we leaned into the topic with Will Ferrell and his trailer coming up with Harper and the transitioning. And I opened the show with ensuring that everybody feels welcome in this space. And I want to wrap it up with that same message. You know, I know a lot of you guys, apparently 40% of you are feeling introverted right now. And you're starting your day and you're maybe feeling insecure about yourself. Maybe you're nervous to go to work. I was that guy. I was like, I got to go to a meeting in downtown Toronto today with a bunch of executives where I don't feel like I belong. Talk about introverted and insecure. Oh, fuck. You talk about going into a bathroom and looking in the mirror, Johnny, and talking to yourself and talking and getting your brain ready to go into that, or getting on the airplane with a bunch of anxiety. I've been there, gents. So, hey, listen, if you're feeling that sense of introversion, or if you're feeling that sense of I don't belong, you belong here. Because I'm hoping you're going to come here and hear some things that John says. Here's some things that Marty says, and here's something that I see or Christina says. And you know what? Going to give you a little bit of confidence to maybe not feel like you have to be extroverted, but maybe just give you that confidence to be yourself. And that's what we want to celebrate, is you, nation. So listen, if you're being too introverted, or somebody says you're being too introverted, no, you're being yourself. They just haven't given you a safe space to be yourself. And that's what we're doing here, Mornings in the Lab. 8 o'clock Eastern time, Monday to Friday. We start with the loop, the first 15 minutes of the day. Content to help you guys get your day started. Boys, girls, Christina, John, Marty, Michael, we're coming up to the end of the show. I can't believe it's already over. And I just want to say this. Marty, John, we have had a fucking awesome week of shows. It has been an awesome week of shows. And I just want to
show why, brother? You know why? It's because my connection has been great. When I was in my cabin in Tahoe, Marty, my connection was poor. It was a 3-second delay.
Why is it always about you, John?
Marty,
is it about you?
Because I did my shit this morning and I'm as extroverted as I can be.
Look, we still had some good shows with your bad connection, John. Me and Keith can carry a show.
Oh, man. Some closing comments from Michael. Michael, your first time experiencing our show today, you sat down with me live in the lab a number of months ago, and I said, hey, come join the morning show with a bunch of fun characters. How was your first experience in the lab with us here today, Michael?
It was a beautifully wild experience. I want to thank everyone for welcoming into the wolf pack and letting me say a few kind words. So it's been great meeting Jon Andersen, CMartyFit, and Christina with a K. Keith, I'm a big fan of yours, man. So whenever you need me, just let me know.
I appreciate that, man. And I'm a big fan of yours too, man. You said some things a few moments ago. And Nation, listen, just tune out or tune in, but I'm giving you a little love fest here. Add a little business love fest here. Michael's the CEO of Evergreen Podcasts, and you heard their story about showing up with 4 shows to 280 shows, and you heard their journey. And it was trying to figure shit out along the way. Well, if you've been paying enough attention to Keith and Marty, probably not too dissimilar to Michael's path years ago. And then one day, Johnny shows up, and then another day, Christina shows up, and Keith and Marty are looking around going, oh, these guys are here? So, Michael, we can relate. We're figuring shit out every single day. We're building the plane as we fly. And I can tell you right now, Michael, every single day, the plane's going higher. The content's getting better. The audience is tuning in more, and people are hanging out with us and having a lot of fun. So, man, I am full of gratitude that you took some time out of your day for us, because I know your time is valuable. And we don't take that lightly, just like everybody who tuned in today. Calvin, Zenelia, I saw your questions there. Actually, Marty, Johnny, quick question for me from Zenelia. Zenelia says, moved to California from Atlanta. Hard to choose a business structure in the state. What do you think about doing business in California? Jon Andersen, quick question, 30 seconds from you.
Doing business in California is a challenge. There's no question about it. That's why so many businesses have left California.
Go to Texas.
Yeah, I mean, literally. So I honestly, when it comes down to it, I don't have any real words of wisdom other than just accept that it's difficult and deal with the challenges.
There you go. So Zenelia, there's your comment from Jon Andersen. I appreciate you tuning into the whole show. You've been here for a while, so I appreciate that. Real Deal Prime. Zenelia, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, Mornings in the Lab. Just go click it on there on the clicker. Mike Sullivan, Good Time, Real Deal Prime, Mike McQuillan, not with the N. Who else we got here, Marty? We had Erwin show up today as well. David Sowers, what's going on, brother? I got the. I'm gonna get Ace
Sowers. I got your package. I didn't open it yet, but I got it.
You got the package. So I think my package might be in the mailbox. Yeah. So we might wear that on the show next week. There, Sowers, and there we go. So we're gonna get out of here for the weekend. The morning loop starts Monday, 8:00 Eastern time next week. No weekend coming up, boys. Keep your habits happening. 8:00 Eastern time on Monday. We're going to be back here again with the show. Until then.